My name is Evan Ross, and I'll be giving a book review for the book Black Hawk Down, A Story of Modern War. The author of this book is Mark Bowden, and the genre of the book he wrote is war historical nonfiction. The setting of this book is October 3rd, 1993, in Mogadishu, along the eastern coast of Africa. Some of the major characters included in this book are Major General William F. Garrison, Sergeant Dave Wilson, Staff Sergeant Matt Eversman, Sergeant First Class Paul Howe, Norm Hooton, Chief Warrant Officer Mike Durant, Private First Class Toph Blackburn, Specialist Dave Dimer, Sergeant Ray Rowdy, Staff Sergeant Daniel Bush, and Lieutenant Dom Pilla. We will now go over the summary of the plot of this book. And the book starts out with Matt Eversman, the staff sergeant of this mission, saying a Hail Mary as he is squeezed between two helicopter crew chiefs on a Black Hawk helicopter. The helicopter's mission is to apprehend two lieutenants of the Somali warlord, Mohammed Farah Aidid. Staff Sergeant Eversman's chalk, or a military term for groups of soldiers, is made up of 12 men. Collectively, almost 160 men were ready for the mission. These men consisted of attack and transport helicopters and a ground fleet. Most of the men that made up these groups were young, the average being 19. Chief Warrant Officer Mike Durant gave the word, and the convoy set off to battle the Somalis. The first flight aimed to attack a residence by the Olympic Hotel, and before attacking the correct target, Sergeant First Class Paul Howell and Norm Hooton led the Delta teams to hit the wrong building. After locating the target, Eversman's chalk descends from the Black Hawks by rope. When Eversman lands, he finds Private First Class Toph Blackburn unconscious after failing to make the descent correctly. General Garrison warned the government that fighting in the Baraka market was dangerous, but his leadership was jeopardized after quite a few mistakes he made, such as moving on an Allied residence and arresting 9 United Nations employees by mistake. Bowden goes on to tell us that First Sergeant Paul Howell's Delta unit gets shot at by fellow American soldiers out of confusion. The relationship between D-Boys, Delta troops, and Rangers are then enlightened. Since the D-Boys line of work involves more disclosure and they have more allowances than the Rangers still have jealousy for them despite the increased expectation they have to meet. One of the convoys, led by Colonel Danny McKnight, had to experience heavy gunfire. Well, not had to, but he experienced heavy gunfire, roadblocks, barricades on their voyage back to the hangar. While on their voyage back to the hangar, Lieutenant Dom Pilla died from a bullet wound to the head. Dom Pilla was the first soldier killed in action for this mission. Other convoys also experienced severe damage in battle, leaving only one of Eversman's chalk man uninjured, Specialist Dave Dimer. Some of the Somalis welcomed American presence in this region, but as attacks and civilian casualties increased, some of the Somalis grew to despise the Americans. Manning the minigun mounted on the Black Hawk Super 6-1, Sergeant Ray Rowdy unleashed a vengeful force on the targets below. Many American Rangers saw the RPG hit the Black Hawk. As Black Hawk Super 6-1 crashed to the ground, many of the officers' momentum broke. They then realized they may be vulnerable in this foreign land. They intended the mission to be swift, that led to the shooting down of Black Hawk Super 6-1, but it crashed, and the mission now turned into a rescue mission as thousands of Somalis moved to capture the crash site. Pilot Chief Officer Mike Durant of another Black Hawk flies into the crash site and provides cover along with other ground troops. As Officer Durant's flying low, another grenade strikes the Black Hawk and causes the helicopter to crash land. Just like the Black Hawks, ground convoys are being hit hard. More confusion of destination locations and directions lead to American ground troop casualties. Some of the forces on the ground troops become disoriented through mental breakdowns, while others are heightened by the action and fight courageously. Bowden goes on to describe the rough conditions of life back at the hangar and the difficulties convoy teams are having getting to the crash site. Troops have trouble protecting the crash site. Somalis breach the Black Hawk crash site and capture Officer Mike Durant. Troops' efforts to rescue and provide support to ground troops in the battle are delayed while D-boys are on the roof of a crowded building. In conclusion, the D-boys and Rangers in this mission demonstrated extreme courage during this mission despite how unorganized the fight was. Delayed rescue teams, the President's and American public's ignorance of the battle, leader confusion, and lack of seats in returning convoys made this mission a lot more difficult than it should have been. These are the references I used during the making of this book review. I hope you enjoyed.